Hey everyone, and welcome to Toronto Through
Time.
This is the show where we stroll down memory lane, one iconic Toronto stop at a time.
From the CNE to classic movie theaters to the Distillery District, we're talking all things nostalgic. Those places, smells, sights, and sounds that instantly bring you back.
And today's episode is all about a super cool trend called nostalgia tourism, when people travel not to see something new, but to relive something old and familiar.
So think vintage festivals, classic film locations, historic neighborhoods, even places like the Casa Loma, Distillery District, or Toronto International Film Festival that just hit different.
Today's episode is based on a research report written by the three awesome students, Avni, Mohit, and Harsh, who did a deep dive research project on nostalgia tourism right here in Toronto. We split the report into 3 parts, so we'll each introduce you to a different side of nostalgia tourism.
We're going to talk about how memory and emotion shape how we travel, what Toronto's doing right, and how certain places in the city spark that beautiful bittersweet feeling of nostalgia. So whether you're into film, history, or just missing the 2000s, this one's for you. So let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, my section introduced the whole concept of nostalgia tourism. It's based on a study by Salgado Moreno and a few other researchers. And it's basically about how nostalgia tourism is when people travel to relive or reconnect with their past. So it could be visiting historic places, attending retro festivals, going to vintage museums, you name it.
So it's less about the place and more about the feeling.
Exactly. The paper said that these kinds of trips can actually help with emotional well-being and even personal identity. Like it gives people a sense of comfort and belonging.
That's really interesting. I always thought nostalgia was more of like a personal thing, like a memory. I didn't realize it could be such a drive in tourism.
Right? And the cool part is how cities can use it. The researchers talk about how storytelling and authenticity are key to marketing nostalgia. Like Toronto could lean into places like the CNE or the Distillery District to create those emotional connections.
Okay, wait, but that totally makes sense. The CNE gives me instant childhood flashbacks.
Yeah, same.
Well, that's key. People aren't just buying a ticket, they're buying a feeling.
Exactly. Alright, so I read about film tourism, and it kind of blew my mind. So there's the idea that movies and shows can make people want to visit the places that they were filmed in, because they're emotionally attached to what was seen on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So like when people go to New Zealand for like the Lord of the Rings kind of movies?
Exactly. But the paper focused on Toronto. So we've had so many films shot here, like Scott Pilgrim, The Handmaid's Tale, and even Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And don't forget the Toronto International Film Festival. That's like a huge part of film tourism, especially with nostalgia, yeah.
So people actually travel here because they've seen the city in a movie?
Exactly. The paper even argues that cities can use their film history to attract tourists, like offering tours of filming locations or highlighting Toronto's media industry more in tourism campaigns.
I feel like that's such an untapped idea, especially because Toronto plays pretend in so many movies. Like it stands in for New York all the time.
Exactly. I think it's insane.
Okay, so my part was really interesting. It talked about the difference between genuine and artificial nostalgia in tourism.
Wait, so there's fake nostalgia? What do you mean by that?
Sort of. So, genuine nostalgia is when you're visiting a real historic place like Casa Loma or St. Lawrence Market. These places are authentic, they've got real history. Artificial nostalgia is when place is made to look old or vintage, even if it's new, like a shopping district built to look like it's from the 1920s.
Oh, so literally like those fake gas stations you see on Instagram that are really Starbucks.
Exactly. And the report says both can work, but genuine ones tends to hit harder emotionally. Toronto actually uses both. We've got real historic sites, but also themed experience that recreate the past.
So it's kind of about whether the place has real roots or it's just plain dress up.
Pretty much. Even the dress up spots can work if they're done very well and connect with people.
That's so weirdly deep. Like, even if it's fake, it can still make you feel the right things.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to talk about a fun fact that the tourism students gave to us in their research. And it was basically that when they went on their trip to Toronto, they visited the Old Mill Hotel. And get this, some parts of the hotel were actually built by using bricks from the real old mill factory that used to stand in the area, but it eventually burned down in 1978.
Wait, so that's actually really cool. So they're
Right?
using it to like rebuild the hotel, but
Yeah.
bringing, like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. And it wasn't just the look of the place, it was the feeling. And these tourism students said that it had a really nostalgic vibe. Like, you could actually sense the history in the walls. That's what makes a place memorable. Not just that it looks vintage, but it is vintage in a meaningful way.
So it's like you're stepping into the past, not just walking through a replica.
Exactly. That kind of authenticity is really what hits people emotionally, and that's what nostalgia tourism is all about.
Right.
This was such a vibe. Big thanks to the tourism students Avni, Mohit, and Harsh for sharing their nostalgia-filled research with us.
Honestly, this made me want to put on a Walkman and wander around the distillery district with a film camera or something.
Same. If you were in Toronto, we hope this episode inspires you to explore the city a little differently, maybe through the lens of your own memories.
So if you like this episode, give it a like, share it, or post your favorite nostalgic Toronto spot on social media using the hashtag TorontoThroughTime. Thanks
Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you.